particularly guards for Tulsa. Bench production. Alcorn State a little short-handed tonight. Tulsa should have the advantage there. And then for Alcorn State, one and done. They've got to defend and not allow any offensive rebounds. And then, Chad, right there, it says first 5 minutes. That's of each half. For them to be able to hang around here tonight in Tulsa, they've got to have a good, solid start to the first and second half here tonight.
Alcorn State will get the first look at it to start this one here tonight. Byron Joshua to the posting Linnell Henry. Double down comes. That pass was tipped and out of bounds by Curtis Haywood the second. Alcorn State 1-7 on the season, but they got on November the 28th a win at Milwaukee. It was their first Division I non-conference win in 19 years. That's a significant step for this program. Shot clock is down to 3. This 3 ball by Henry, side of the rim and no good. Sam Griffin the other way for the Golden Hurricane.
Yeah, Landon Bussey has definitely got this program headed in the right direction.
Here's the Tulsa lineup. Griffin, who we highlighted, Horn, the leading scorer. Tim Dalker in the starting lineup again, and the freshman point guard, Anthony Pritchard. Both teams miss on their opening attempt of the night. Alcorn State has been into some rowdy environments this year. They played Gonzaga at the Kennel back on November the 15th. Their starting lineup, that is Montrell McQuarter, who misses that one. And Alcorn State, as you said, Brendan, they're without a few players tonight. Had a car accident involving 2 players. It's Pritchard, that's the first bucket of the game. Those players are expected to be okay. They've got a couple of other guys out with injuries. So as I look over there, they only have about 8 available players for this one.
Yeah, 7 scholarship players, 8 available that will play tonight. And Coach Bussey joked with us. He said, well, I won't have anybody complaining afterwards about playing time. But, hey, he knows it's going to be tough. And all these games, as you mentioned, Chad, for them, going in these unbelievably tough environments, is just preparing them for SWAC conference play. And there's no doubt, as you watch this team, Chad, as they've made the jump in Coach Bussey's first year to the second. The talent level's better, and he's going to keep improving this program.
Sam Griffin comes away with the second Alcorn State turnover of the night. Dalger to Horn, his 3 ball, a little bit strong. And the rebound is chased down by Byron Joshua.
Well, both Joshua and King, Paul King, are going to have to handle those point guard and primary ball handling duties out front. With Justin Thomas, who's as solid as they come in terms of ball security, him being out tonight.
Shot clock down under 10. A step back 3 by Walker is good.
And he's been really good, Chad, over the last 3 games. This is his 4th start in a row. He's averaged 11 over those 3 starts, and he's made 8 threes in that span. So Walker playing with a lot of confidence.
The 3 counter the other way from Sam Griffin, who's shooting 35% from 3-point range this season.
Just a tremendous, tremendous score. Handles it, shoots it, as we talked about, Chad. And also, Frank Haith likes to put him in the spread pick and roll situations where he can go create, like we saw Saturday against Southern Illinois.
Sam Griffin's made at least 2 threes in 6 consecutive games, and he had 5 made threes in a game against Air Force this year. That 3 ball is an air ball from Curtis Haywood. Speeding the other way comes Paul King. The floater, Walker off the mark, and rebounded by Curtis Haywood. It's also rebounded much better against Southern Illinois. It's been a point of emphasis for Frank Haith.
Yeah, and not a big team, Chad. What they did do well is their guards got back in there and helped on the defensive end.
Uriah Horn off a reset. Haywood tries to follow that up, never brought it back down, and he's going to go to the free throw line. Frank Haith liked the decision-making later in the game. That had been a point of concern for Frank Haith this year. Tulsa's been in a bunch of grinders. They have had 3 straight games decided by 5 points or less in 4 of their 10 games this season. He liked the decision-making and the way his team performed in the final 5 or 10 minutes. Playing with a lead was important for them the other day.
Yeah, and let's be honest, when you get into conference play, you'll open up here against SMU on December 29th. I mean, that's how those games go, right? I mean, most of the times you're either a couple possessions behind or up. You have to know how to handle those, and definitely some more mature decision making. We talked about Sam Griffin You know, the freshman Anthony Pritchard is a guy that'll continue to progress as far as that goes, but there's no doubt, I think Tulsa's best basketball is ahead of them.
Golden Hurricane out to this early 7-3 lead. Some substitutions. Darian Jackson has entered the Tulsa lineup. Also see Ladavius Drain for the first time. He did not play against Southern Illinois Saturday. Shot clock plays down to 5 for the Braves, and a 3 by Walker is good. So Oddest Walker with a pair of 3s in the early going.
Boy, and that's a tough shot right there. Quick release to get it to go. Pretty well defended. Hand right in his face, but again, Walker continues to play great on the offensive end.
He made 4 threes in their game at Wichita State on Tuesday night. Had a season-high 16, did Oddest Walker. And there's what Drain can really do. If he will get things sorted out on the defensive end, he has made a lot of 3s in his career.
Well, Frank Haith goes to him early. He's throwing him a bone right here. And as you mentioned, Chad, the thing with Drain is he's got to continue to play this end of the floor. You're talking about a guy at Southern Miss that made 220 career three-point shots. Certainly a guy that would be a huge asset in terms of shooting on the offensive end.
Paul King misses that one, rebounded by Oddest Walker. Byron Joshua backs it away. Reset here for the Braves. Screen set by McQuarter. Shot clock down to 3 as Walker penetrates and loses that one out of bounds. Both teams shooting it well in the early going. Tulsa especially, Brendan.
Well, they've taken several here early. The opportunities have been there. Nice little inside out to Drain. He gets it to go.
Grandma, how wide are you?
Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids.
It's NBA Christmas time.
Welcome back inside the Reynolds Center. 10-6. Tulsa leads Alcorn State. The Braves coached by second-year head coach Landon Bussey. 6 years an assistant coach at Prairie View A&M. They won back-to-back SWAC titles, went to an NCAA tournament. His mom, Loretta, played in the WNBA and was a star at West Virginia, but he is building this thing his way, Brendan.
And I tell you what, he was such a huge part of what Byron Smith is doing at Prairie View A&M, as you mentioned. And I love what his initiatives are, what the priority. It's the defensive end of the floor. And as you and I talked to him earlier today, I mean, that's what the entire conversation is about. We talked about how very little offense is really done within the course of practice. Game days, there's shell defense, and hey, right on cue, you get a great defensive play, stepping over and taking a charge. And Chad, I love coaches that the defensive end of the floor is a priority. Every coach preaches it, but there's a difference if you truly spend time on it and your team gets the message that this is how we're going to play. And your identity and toughness comes from that defensive end. So that's what's going to give you hope in the long run that Coach Bussey can really get this program going, because he was a big part of it again at Prairie View A&M.
Horn getting a steal there as Tulsa settles into the half court. Here's Horn. Fall away, got it, and he will go to the foul line. He is much more than just an excellent three-point shooter. This post-up ability has been a much bigger part of his game this year.
Yeah, and he has this versatility, and they can play him at the 4 and 5. You can post him, low block, mid-post areas you see right here, just too much size for him to go over top and score. But Frank Haith can move him around the basketball floor based on where the matchup opportunities are. And then, in addition to all of that, you have a 47% three-point shooter on the year. So he can flat out stretch out defenses as well.
He had a 30-point game against Oral Roberts about a week and a half ago. Made 5 threes in that one. Alcorn State able to break down the pressure, but the shot clock is at 10 already for the Braves. As King goes to work, he rises and fires and hits that one with the dough flying right in his face.
Boy, King is a tough kid, gets downhill. Really a combo. You know, with Thomas being out tonight, he's going to have to handle a lot more. JUCO kid that I think he's starting to kind of figure it out. And I love the fact that he dribbled inside the arc and got a little bit better look.
Here goes Jackson on the attack. Idowu has a height advantage, goes with that left hand, which is his dominant hand, but he missed. Something they would like to see him do more of, finish plays like that.
Yeah, so far this year, he's a career low 48% from the floor. And he's been getting really good position, Chad, but you've got to convert those bunnies. And especially when you get to conference play, there's only a handful of those a game you might get, and you just got to get them to go down.
Agnew trapped and just decided to go up and score with it. Said, hey, you guys aren't going to help me out. I'll just go put it in the bucket.
Well, Agnew's coming off his best game of the year. 14.7 rebounds against Wichita State. And he's really a position player, kind of a big body that plays below the rim, and that was terrific touch inside.
Davius Drain lost the handle on that one. Braves come the other way. They could tie it with a made three right here from King, but he's short. Modest Walker scoots in to grab another rebound. Walker's hit a couple of threes in the early going.
And you'll see Coach Bussey, as long as Alcorn State is keeping this close, he will manage the tempo. And if there's not an opportunity there, he's going to slow up his team on those possessions.
Walker hits his 3rd triple of the game. They're getting him shots. We're tied at 13.
Yeah, if you're Tulsa, I don't know how you lose a guy that's already made 2. And he came in tonight playing extremely well offensively, and that's just a breakdown on the defensive end.
So Honest Walker coming off 4 made threes. He's made 7 threes in his last 2 games now.
Well, this is just great ball movement. Doesn't take much sometimes, Chad. You swing it side to side, and that defense is trying to catch up, and they're a step slow. And I'm telling you, on Walker right now, you have to be there on the catch when he catches it defensively.
Good inbounds action for the Golden Hurricane, and Keyshawn Embry-Simpson checks right in and scores for TU. Full court Tulsa pressure here. Broken with a pass to Oddest Walker. And Oddest Walker's made 7 of 14 from three-point range his last 2 games. Got to get a hand up on that man. Shot clock trickles down to 10. Byron Joshua going to work. Shadowed by Tim Balger. Shot clock at 3. King in trouble. Needs some help, and they don't get a shot away. Good Tulsa defensive set that started with the pressure. 15-13, Golden Hurricane on top. 11:34 to play in the opening half.
Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids.
New players, new coaches. It'll be must-see TV.
(15-13) Tulsa on top. Sometimes this game is simple, Brendan. When you got a guy that's hot, just keep feeding him the ball.
Well, notice the ball movement around the perimeter, side to side, and then the quick release. Feet set, squared up. And as you mentioned, Chad, he's really been shooting it well coming in. So this is not an accident. 8 made threes over the last 3 games. He was great at Wichita State. 16 points, 4 made threes, with several key players for Alcorn State not available. So what you love is you're going to get some guys back within the next couple of games, but that he is stepping up offensively and trying to carry the load. And that's big time for your teammates, and it helps build confidence within your unit.
Teams exchange turnovers as Dalger is able to take it back for Tulsa. Sam Griffin going to work with Pritchard. Pritchard found a little bit of a crease. Good ball fake. That was partially blocked by Marshall. And then a foul on the inside. So Tim Dalger's going to go to the foul line.
Speaking of guys that are playing well, Dalger is a JUCO transfer. And see the second effort right there on the offensive rebound. Coming off a very good game Saturday against the Salukis, 12.6 rebounds. And you and I were here, Chad. One of the things that was evident is he didn't hesitate on his decision making. And sometimes JUCO guys certainly have the ability. They sign you. Frank A. signs a JUCO guy so he can play immediately. But the speed of the game's different. And now he's starting just to go make plays. And he is maybe the biggest piece on this team. If he can step up and become consistent, he'll really help Tulsa in a big way.
Yeah, that third every night guy to go along with Horn and Griffin. If Dalger can be that guy. Dalger up high and knocks that one home. So back-to-back buckets, and it's a 4-point trip down the court for TU.
You saw right there the athleticism, obviously to elevate and then to adjust and be able to tap that in softly around the rim.
And the thing about it is, with Frank Haith, it's not necessarily about what you're doing offensively. You're going to guard people the way they want you to guard people if you're going to play. Bucket and a foul underneath for Montrell McQuarter.
Tell you what, this is great offense. And again, we'll mention Alcorn State without their starting point guard, Justin Thomas. And so you have decisions being made by King and Joshua out front more than they typically would have to do. And I love King right there. That's a simple play. Ball movement, bounce pass, great interior pass right there. That's really good offense.
For Alcorn State, there have been flashes for just about everybody who has played has had a double-digit scoring game or two. McWhorter had back-to-back double-digit games. Byron Joshua had 20 at Portland. It's just who's going to be consistent night in and night out.
Yeah, and just like you were talking about Frank Haith, Chad, you know, your playing time's based on what you do defensively. And that's where it's going to be with Landon Bussey. I mean, if you guard and play that into the floor the right way, and you're going to get opportunities to be on the floor, and then obviously you have opportunities on the offensive end.
15 to shoot for Alcorn State. 3-point Tulsa lead nearly midway through this opening half. Mid-post here, Henry. Extra pass into McWhorter and a turnover taken by Sam Griffin. Here's Pritchard again. He just gets in there so easily but can't finish. And underneath, Dowger gets tangled up with Pajah, the walk-on. Looks like everybody's okay.
Now here's the missed jumper right here. You see Dowger and Pajah. Pajah was just trying to block off, and then with Dowger leaving his feet, got under him a little bit right there.
Pajah picks up his first. He's a walk-on from the New Orleans area. Richard. Out to Haywood. His three ball lined up and in for Curtis Haywood. He's shooting better the last two games.
Hey, and a simple play right there from Anthony Pritchard. Dribble, draw, help, kick. And you're right, Chad. Curtis Haywood is just a solid player. Probably grades out the best of any Golden Hurricane as far as defensively. And now he's starting to hit open shots. 8 points against Southern Illinois, along with 9 rebounds on Saturday. And here it is. See this? Let's see. Ball fake, dribble by Pritchard. Draw help. That gives you just enough space. And there's Curtis Haywood knocking down a 3-point shot.
22-16 Tulsa. TU's largest lead of this opening half has been 7. Again, Agnew posting. Pritchard double teams and Agnew missed it. There's Jeriah Horn in track to claim the rebound. Wide open look for Griffin. His three is good. And Tulsa has its largest lead.
Now Griffin right there is sprinting the floor, going straight to the corner, and then a little miscommunication by Alcorn State. Also doing a good job of finding him there.
Tulsa 4 of 8 from 3-point range in this first half, continuing what we saw against Southern Illinois on Saturday. This three by Otis Walker is off the mark. So Otis Walker missing on that one. He's been hot early. That's his first miss. He's 3 of 4 from downtown. Pritchard, nice little look away to get himself the open shot, but missed it. Agnew twists in and scores.
Yeah, that's really nice right there. And Alcorn State's been able to get the ball in the post deep. Tulsa basically conceding behind. And Agnew right there, great job of going to that offhand, feeling where Horn was behind him and finishing the play.
Horn, a ball fake to get himself to the foul line. No. Porter with another rebound. And that's a travel against Paul King. Tulsa briefly had its largest lead. Right now, 7-point advantage over Alcorn State.
Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids.
It's NBA Christmas time.
And it's really starting to feel like Christmas here.
Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids.
Capitals Flyers, Tuesday on ESPN+.
Welcome to a new time. Anyone's time.
7-point lead for the Golden Hurricane. 7:40 to play in the first half. Frank Haith's Tulsa team, a challenging non-conference schedule. They've already played 5 teams picked in the top 5 of their league this season, including Oregon State, which made the Elite 8 a season ago, and it's not going to get a lot easier. Colorado State, they have the number 14 RPI in the country. They're picked to win the Mountain West Conference, and then you get a good North Texas team before conference play starts.
Well, it certainly is challenging, and you want it to, as a coach, Chad, as you kind of, it's like a crescendo leading up to when your conference season starts. And you're capping it off in a tough way, as you mentioned, Colorado State, North Texas, and then SMU here. You and I had and we have before, but a pretty lengthy conversation with Frank Haith about scheduling, etc. And you want it to be challenging. And in the non-conference, you want your opponents that you play to be some of the best in their league. And as you mentioned and alluded to, that's been the case. And they played Oregon State early in the year, went to the Elite 8 last year, Utah, the Pac-12, et cetera, et cetera. So they will be ready in terms of the level of competition they've played once American competition starts December 29th.
Otis Walker missed everything with that one. Jariah Horn the other way for TU. Horn never cut off, got great penetration, but again, the bunny missed by Idowu. Sometimes it gets in your head a little bit, doesn't it, when you miss a few, as Idowu has. Idowu nicely saving that ball. Haywood couldn't quite get to it on the sideline.
See Haywood right there. And this is a great job, because watch him use his left hand to contest. And then he has really good length as a perimeter player, perimeter defender at legit 6'5", long arms.
He sure looks longer than 6'5". And the first thing with Frank Haith is you earn trust on the defensive end, but now he's not just trusted, he's starting to have a little presence on the defensive end, isn't he?
Well, he's always been a guy that's been in the right spots. And with Tulsa, if you follow them defensively, they play solid man, but Frank Haith also plays quite a bit of zone, and they give you lots of different looks in their zone. It's just not, hey, we're in a 2-3 and here's the area you're covering. There's a lot that goes into it, so it takes some time, Chad, to understand that, but he's always been a guy that's graded well or understood. That's why he's played first and foremost. And now you're getting him, he's going to be a guy that's going to go out and guard your best perimeter player on the other team.
Darian Jackson punctuates the steal with the lay-in on the other side. A productive and solid defensive player who has a flair for the spectacular. Darian Jackson.
Well, we talked about Haywood, and this is another excellent perimeter defender for Tulsa and Jackson. He's been a guy in his entire career, Chad, as you well know, that has brought tremendous energy to Tulsa. I mean, he's a terrific offensive rebounding guard at only 6'3", leads the team there. And his point production is up a little bit this year, 9 points a game, but really what you get out of him is his leadership, toughness, and that energy. And Frank Haith can bring him off the bench, and you get a tremendous presence in that case. And he's willing to do whether he starts or not. Darian Jackson has never cared. He just likes to play.
was the American Conference Sixth Man of the Year a season ago. That steal right there was his 113th in his Tulsa career. When you get steals like that, your field goal percentage is usually pretty good on the other end, Brent.
That's why he shoots like 75%
right.
from two-point range. You know, between plays like that, his ability to drive it, and then his offensive rebound. He gets a lot of close looks.
Aaron Joshua dancing off a couple of screens out front. Shot clock down to 10 for Alcorn State. This is Paul King. No place to go. Agnew puts it on the deck. Nice find inside. McWhorter didn't make the shot. Tulsa with a chance to take its largest lead. 5.5 to play in the opening half. As Dogger dicks his way to the bucket. Tim Dogger having a good first half.
Yeah, and you can just see, and he's starting to gain a lot of confidence. And he's not exactly the same player, but he does have some of the similar qualities as Brendan Rashout, who was a great player here for Tulsa the last couple of years. Just athleticism, rebounding, just going out and making athletic plays.
A Jariah Horn block leads to a Sam Griffin three for Tulsa. Defense to offense on the other end for the Golden Hurricane. 14-point lead for TU now at 32 to 18.
Yeah, the turnovers are starting to mount up a little bit for Alcorn State. And that's 8 of them. And a lot of those have been live, as Tulsa has 5 steals. And so when you have those live ball turnovers, Tulsa terrific at turning those into transition points. And here's that last possession, the block. There's Horn. And this is a nice job. Again, simple plays. Haywood leading the break down the center. And he allows Griffin to flow in, and it's a perfect pass and rhythm to knock down that tray.
That is 10 Tulsa points off of 8 Alcorn State turnovers. And Griffin now leads everybody with 9 points here in this first half. Tulsa by 14.
And I will tell you, Alcorn State, Chad, they're trying to do the right things on offense. I mean, for the most part, they've taken good shots, and that's a nice job using the ball screen. Tulsa goes behind it by Paul King. The challenge for them tonight, as you know, for Landon Bussey, is just they don't quite have all the firepower here to having some guys out. But you love the fact that they're guarding, they're playing tough on this end, and they're trying to do the right things offensively.
Horn off the mark. And out of bounds as the Braves kind of battle with one another for that contested rebound. And out of bounds off of Pajal. Back in is Ladavius Drain. Replaces Curtis Haywood. Dowger down the lane. Here's Griffin. Arcing it over 2 defenders for another bucket.
And that's what he can do. You know, he's made those 3-point shots today, Chad. Griffin's made all 3 he's attempted. So when you run him off the line, he's got mid-range as well. King again.
Paul King just turns and drops in another. As Alcorn State continues to hang around.
Always the silver lining, Chad, when you have key guys out. Other guys get opportunity, more minutes, and that just helps you in the long run.
Henry rotates over to block the shot of Griffin as we go to break. 34-23, Tulsa on top, closing out the first half at the Reynolds Center.
Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids.
Vivid Seats, your ticket to soul-raising, heart-racing 100 beat.
Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids.
In conjunction with the Toys for Tots drive tonight at the Rental Center, Santa is in town. Brendan, what did you ask for Christmas? The ability to dance like Santa Claus?
I know him. Santa.
You sit on a throne of lies, my friend. So Tulsa able to open up its largest advantage of the night so far, 34-23. And we talked at the outset of the broadcast with Frank Hague. He wanted a carryover of the positive things that they had against Southern Illinois. And it's been so far so good through the first 16 minutes plus.
You know, one of the things that's been good, I think, is defensively they've been sound. You know, everything has stayed in front. Containment, not allowing angles in the half-court set from Alcorn State. Pretty good communication.
Braves have been very patient on the offensive end all night long. Deep three by King is off the mark. Rebound, volleyballs around, ripped away initially by Dowger. Green's pass got tipped, and here come the Braves. Sprinting the other way is Joshua with the pull-up, and rebounded by Dowger. He's going to bring it himself. Isolated one-on-one against Joshua, lost it. Still loose. And I think Dowger was out of bounds when he touched that ball. I beg your pardon, it was Byron Joshua who was out of bounds. It'll stay on this end.
There's a lot to digest right there, Chad. Those couple possessions between these two teams.
It wasn't necessarily easy to digest either.
You did a great job.
See the first appearance of Nikita Konstantinovsky. Frank Haith in the Golden Hurricane tonight. Working his way back from some injury earlier, and he's transferred from NEO Junior College just up the road in Miami, Oklahoma.
Konstantinovsky is a guy that they really think can help them in the long run. And they'd like to get him some minutes tonight, get him healthy. He's a player that they feel like can give them some depth at that 4 and 5 position.
I think this is going to be a 30-second timeout. John Higgins conversing with Frank Haith. So it will be a 30-second timeout. Frank Haith saying it should have been a foul call instead of a timeout that was allowed to be called.
Coach Haith has the sports jacket on tonight, which is strange. It throws you off because the casual look that most coaches are going back to. I like that right there.
Listen, the man knows how to dress, and when you've got style and clothing as he does, just got to show it off every now and then.
It is kind of funny how that now stands out.
Yeah. You and I have been wearing sport coats all season long over here.
I'm just waiting you to make the first move and show up in your joggers.
Shot clock is at 15 for the Golden Hurricane. Keyshawn Embry-Simpson at the controls. Konstantinovsky putting it on the deck. Shot clock down to 8. Dowger. Embry-Simpson triggers a 3. And unfortunately, we've got an injured Alcorn State player. They can ill afford more injuries. Only 8 available players and 7 scholarship guys here tonight. Let's look again.
Watch McWhorter try to come over the top right here. He left his feet. He hit a shoulder, Chad?
I don't know if it's a leg injury, but Montrell McWhorter, they call him DJ out of Baton Rouge, slowly getting to his feet. So I told you there was a car accident involving a couple of Alcorn State players. They're fortunately doing well and expected to be back. They've had concussions, other injuries. They practice hard. A shoot-around is like a practice for Landon Bussey. And he's going to build the toughness in his program.
Yeah, good to see McWhorter walk off on his own right there. Yeah, that's, you know, as we talked about, he's trying to build their identity. So, in other words, what Chad is saying is their game day shoot-arounds in preparation for tonight's game against Tulsa, for example, are like practices. I mean, shell defense, a lot of defensive drills. And most coaches do not do that. Some do. And when he was talking about it today, it reminded me of Bob Huggins at West Virginia. And his shoot-arounds are not walkthroughs necessarily. And so I think that's a good thing. I think that's what he's trying to do, Coach Bussey, is this is our identity. We're going to be tough. We're going to play tough. And that includes our game day preparation.
Neither team into the bonus here with under 2 minutes left in the opening half. In fact, each team has committed only 5 fouls. Tulsa by 14, which equals their largest lead of the half. Byron Joshua. King puts it on the deck. That's a tough fall away, and he hit it anyway.
I'll tell you what, he and Walker have made some tough shots, and that's allowed Alcorn State to hang around here. There's a big-time fadeaway right there along that right baseline.
King and Walker each have 9 for Alcorn State, and there's a foul chasing the ball. This will be against Byron Joshua.
That's this right here. I mean, he gets the angle on Griffin, but the help rotates over so he can't turn the corner. He brings rain right there. That about hit the ceiling here at the Reynolds Center.
Just like he drew it up, though. Tulsa will be in the bonus on the next Alcorn State foul call. Minute 15 left in the opening half. Konstantinovsky barrels down the lane, and he's called for the offensive foul.
Yeah, that's an easy one right there. Perfect rotation. Yeah, there's that defense right there. That's tough on a big fella when you give it to him sliding down the lane like that. And a great job of Walker rotating over. No question that that was a charge.
I'd say it's tough on a 5'11", 160-pound guy taking a charge on 6'10", 235. Under a minute left here, opening half. Henry puts it on the deck. This ball away is no good. Porter rips away the rebound and a reset here for the Braves. King steps into a 3-ball. That's out of bounds.
I'll tell you what, Agnew right there was working hard against Jariah Holmes. He's about got a second straight offensive rebound. That's tremendous effort. Hey, this team is flat out playing hard. Coach Bussey said, that's what I want tonight, first and foremost. And he's gotten that so far.
Dowger off the jump stop, can't convert. And he may have twisted an ankle, but he got a foul call against the Braves. Looks like Dowger's okay. Foul is on Henry. And that's 2 on Henry. Tulsa gets into the 1-and-1 with 28 seconds left in this first half. Frank Haith was talking with us earlier. Southern Illinois game. It was the first time in 3 games that Tulsa got into the bonus and got to the foul line. It was a big part of them closing out the game on Saturday.
Yeah, they've kind of been an interesting team that way, Chad, is they don't settle for the 3. And that's a good thing. I mean, they typically take good threes. They take 12 one game and 25 the next. They don't have an agenda. It's just a good shot. But when you don't take bad threes, the trade-off is usually you get downhill and get to the line. They haven't done a great job of it.
Shot clock is off, 10 seconds left here in this first half. Otis Walker's made 3 threes in this first half. Near turnover, but it stays on this end. Sam Griffin trying to get that steal. 6 seconds to play.
And Tulsa right here in this situation, you have to be careful. Let's Campbell just keep in front, get your stop. You're going to the half with a double-digit lead.
Braves will get the final look. Byron Joshua to a curling Paul King, and he hits a 3 to close out the first half for Alcorn State. The Braves knock down their 5th 3 in the first 20 minutes, and it's a 9-point game at halftime inside the Reynolds Center. That's the look they wanted, and it was true.
Well, those 5 threes, Chad, have come from 2 guys. It was Walker early in the half, and then King. That's a big bucket. That gets it under. High and soft fadeaway jumper. And the 3 at the end of the half got the Braves within 9. Real important, Chad, the first 4 or 5 minutes with them here in the second half. If they want to hang around, they've got to have another good start here.
Anthony Pritchard going to work. Here's Horn for 3. That's chased down by Ladarius Marshall. They call him Crunchy, Ladarius Marshall.
And with the absence of some players tonight and then previous game against Wichita State, several players, including Marshall, got season-high in minutes the other night.
Oh, that was as tough a shot as Paul King has hit tonight, and he's hit some toughness.
He'll try to put back-to-back halves together. And he is always playing confidently, tough. Really a breakout game offensively for him.
And a turnover. That one thrown away by Dalger. Galloping the other way goes Joshua. And we've got a 5-point game. Tulsa once led by 14.
Well, it's great defense right there because you don't allow the driver to turn the corner, and then it forces the pass. An excellent start here for Landon Bussey's team.
Pritchard drops that one through. So the freshman point guard Pritchard ends that run for Alcorn State to start the half. Pritchard's got 4 on the night. King hands off to Byron Joshua, who goes to work with 10 on the shot clock. Joshua gets a little screen from Henry and then misses. And Sam Griffin counterattacks. Dalger backs down and it's rejected, sent away. Marshall with the block. Extra pass in the corner. Hayward knocks down the
Well, Dalger doesn't get the look inside, he gets blocked. Goes and gets the miss. It's essentially, and it is, an offensive rebound. And what you do, Chad, if you get that offensive rebound, you can attack immediately, get it out, get it moving. Great ball reversal right there from Tulsa as the Braves defense was trying to catch up.
Curtis Hayward's second 3 of the night. He's hit 4 in the last 2 games. That one unfriendly roll for Paul King. Sam Griffin, all in his hands a bunch. 11 points for Griffin to lead Tulsa in the first half. There goes Pritchard on the attack. Falls into the arms of Dalger, and he'll go to the foul line.
Here's that last possession. This is off the offensive rebound. 1, 2, 3. And you see how crisp it was. And on the last one, Pritchard bringing the defender just one more step. Versus it to the corner to Hayward. Who, again, Hayward to me, Chad, defensively, you and I talked about the first half, has been there. But offensively, he's starting to make shots. Taking good shots, but hitting those when he's open.
He's made only 4 threes in the first 9 games of the season. He's made 4 in the last 2 games. And Tulsa's lead is back out to 12.
Man, he doesn't have to go get Tulsa 15. They've got guys that can go do that. But you get additional guys making open shots. It just spreads the forward spaces that much better offensively.
7 seconds to shoot for King. 1-on-1 against Pritchard, who stripped it. He'll flip it ahead. Sam Griffin glides the other way. His layup is good.
Yeah, King pressing a little bit. I thought he was better in the first half when the ball moved first and then it got in his hands, he could attack. Right there, not much offense run. And Tulsa, again, doing a good job of keeping dribblers in front in terms of containment.
A 9-0 Tulsa run is stopped by Henry's three. Henry is a guy who was at Prairie View A&M. Landon Bussey recruited him there. And then Henry, when Bussey got the job at Alcorn State, was transferred here to be brave. He trusts him.
Yeah, part of 2 straight SWAC titles there, Henry was. And he was a contributor, 7.6 rebounds per game. And he knows exactly what Coach Bussey wants.
A great ball fake there by Jeriah Horn. He's got a shot at a three-point play.
Well, Horn, a versatile player. Shooter, take you up the bounce. Chance for an and one when we come back.
Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids.
Welcome to a new time. Anyone's time.
Are you ready for Monday night?
That's a happy bunch of students inside the Reynolds Center. Happy because, well, finals are over with at the University of Tulsa, and their Golden Hurricane holding a 13-point lead. Welcome back inside with Brendan Manzer. I'm Chad McKee. Golden Hurricane led by 14 at one stage of half number one. They had a 9-0 run here in the initial stages of the second half, comfortably ahead by 13. I think Frank Haith and the Golden Hurricane would like to not be in a grinder of a game for once. That's been the norm for them here in the last 3 weeks. It's Frank Haith.
Well, that, you know, whose fault is that? His. For making such a tough non-conference schedule.
Yeah, you know, the year-to-year scheduling, as we were talking about earlier, with the transfer portal. Schedule a team, and all of a sudden they get 3 transfers you didn't know about, and they're a team that's picked to be in the top 5 of their league, and all of a sudden you've got a tough game.
Well, obviously, I think given the choice, which is what he was trying to do, is make it tough. I mean, the bottom line, whether you're Tulsa or you're Alcorn State, Gonzaga, whoever, is to get prepared for conference play. But you're right. You know, figuring out what kind of team that you're going to face on your schedule next year. You know, in the old days, you look and you go, okay, they have 13 scholarship guys, 3 are seniors. So these 10 guys are coming back. They're probably going to sign 3 more. And now you have no idea. You don't even know what's coming back on your roster in some cases. So it's definitely a different game. And when they do schedule, and Frank Hay talked about this, you want to see lots of different things in your non-conference in terms of styles at both ends of the floor, so you can learn to prepare for those and be able to attack many situations
Speaking of schedule, Alcorn State, it's not just this run. They started the season by playing 4 games in 7 days at Washington State, at Seattle, at Portland, then at Gonzaga to close that thing. Had the run where they played Southern Illinois and Milwaukee. It's a breakaway lay-in is good by Joshua. They're going to play Baylor on Monday in Waco. Then they'll go to Norman and play Oklahoma. By this Monday, Brendan, they will have played 3 of last year's final 4 teams in Baylor, Houston, and Gonzaga. Pritchard draws a foul as he gets dribble penetration.
Good look at the freshman Pritchard right here. Local stud from Tulsa Webster. And when you watch him play, the game is already slow to him. Most young players get in a hurry, get sped up. He does not. In fact, Frank Haith would like him to turn on the burners a little more frequently than he does. Mature kid, loves to watch film, wants to be a great point guard at this level, and he will be. And Frank Haith is essentially, I mean, he's the starting point guard as a freshman on a team with a bunch of veterans. I got to tell you what they think about him. He's got a great demeanor, a good teammate. I think he's got a chance to be really one of the most appreciated and maybe greats ever here at Tulsa when his career is over.
Frank Haith said we couldn't be more pleased with him at this point. I mean, King, you don't want to be playing horse with Paul King tonight. He's making them from all angles all the time. 51-39. He's keeping the Braves within striking distance. A couple of threes go down. And a foul from behind. I'll tell you what, Agnew has worked hard. He's called for fouling Idowu here.
King, 16 points now, and it's been 3-point shots, it's been baseline jumpers, and it's been going to the rim. And that's tough right there. That's exactly what you do when you have the size differential with a 6'9" Ray Idowu, is you go right in his chest. And the ability to absorb that contact and finish, that's impressive right there from King.
Ball reversal for TU. Griffin down the lane. The bank shot. A little bit of contact.
He's starting to drive to contact a little more. Went to the line 7 times against Southern Illinois Saturday. It's definitely something Frank Haith wants him to continue to do. So get to the line, put pressure on defenses, and he's an excellent foul shooter.
15 points tonight. He's had 3 20-point games this season. 20 in the win over Southern Illinois the other day. That one knocked away in a return to Dalger, who goes the other way to lay it in for TU. And the Golden Hurricanes stretch this out to their largest lead, 16. King on the attack. Idowu there to block it, but right into the lap of Agnew, and we'll have goaltending call. The team player stuck his hand up through the rim.
Agnew continues to give good minutes. We talked about how well he played at Wichita State the other night.
Sean Embry Simpson back in. And at the controls for the Golden Hurricane, Darian Jackson has returned also. Here's Idowu. Triple team and blocked. And Curtis Haywood will go to the foul line off the rebound. Foul is on Puja, his first.
Yeah, there's Haywood again, Chad. You talked about kind of the intangibles with him. Nose for the basketball right there. Nice job of following the play behind Idowu.
Curtis Haywood having a good night shooting it. That'll move him into double figures. He's perfect at the foul line, 4 for 4. 3 TU players are in double figures and a 16-point lead.
First time this year that Curtis Haywood has been in double figures.
more confident offensively.
Yeah, just in knocking down his shots. He just looks different. His countenance is different offensively. But what I like about him, we talked about this earlier, is even through all of the struggles offensively, he's continued to defend and rebound and move the ball at the right time.
I like that word, countenance. Maybe triple word score in Scrabble. Embry Simpson, and here's Haywood again. Just off. 2 of 4 from three-point land tonight. Jackson staying in front of Paul King this time. It's been a chore.
Yeah, Chad, sorry about that. Watch Tulsa defend. I mean, those guys are, for the most part, doing a nice job at keeping in front. Right there, Keyshawn Embry Simpson over-anticipated the ball screen and gave a straight-line drive. But Tulsa's concerted effort to contain tonight has been very, very good. And it's amazing. I mean, you know, on offense, what are you trying to do? You're trying to create help situations, right? So you can give yourself a better look. And dribble containment negates that. I think a lot of teams are missing the point these days and not understanding how to keep a guy in front. Tulsa's done a nice job of that here tonight.
There's 4 fouls on Ray Itola, so he exits along with Keyshawn Embry Simpson. Alcorn is back in. One more free throw here for Darius Marshall. 6'7", 230 out of Jackson, Mississippi. First home game of the season for Alcorn State will be January 15th against Texas.
That is unbelievable.
First 16 games on the road. We were talking with Landon Bussey. I mean, absolutely it's challenging. Holding everything together. Keeping your guys galvanized. It's going to be a content ball and a bucket for Jariah Horn. Tulsa leads by 17 with 12 minutes to play. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN.
Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids.
This time, everybody has a shot. Welcome to a new time.
Landon Bussey, head coach at Alcorn State, this super extended road trip of 16 in a row to start the season. And this is yet to come. They will be at Baylor on Monday night. We will call their game in Norman against Oklahoma on Wednesday. At Minnesota, heck, their first 2 games in the conference are on the road. before they finally get home. 3 straight, in fact, conference road games.
Oh, my gosh. And you want to talk about somebody who has great perspective, and that's Landon Bussey. So we talked to him today. I said, hey, how do you manage that with your guys? Because I know, these guys understand the places that they're going. As you mentioned, Chad, you're going to play 3 teams on the road to start the year that were in the Final Four last year. But they're still competitive. You want to win ball games. And he said that's what's important for me and my staff. Nice drive down the lane right there, Walker. But for their staff to keep their perspective and their confidence. Because the idea is when they get to SWAC play, will we be ready? And there's no question. They're going to some of the toughest places in the country.
And we told you their win November 28th at Milwaukee was their first Division I non-conference win on the road in 19 years. Just a huge deal for the program. And they've been in 3 other games decided by 4 points or less. They've had leads on the road, in fact, this year.
Yeah, and with the exception of Gonzaga, Houston recently, and then probably at Tulane. They didn't play great down there. And they've been in every game midway through the second half, meaning within striking distance. He's been under double digits, so he's already made tremendous strides in a year with this group. Tonight they're trying to hang tough without 3 or 4 key pieces, including their point guard and Justin Thomas, and probably the most talented player in Mississippi State transfer, DeAndre Montgomery.
So reach-in foul against Byron Joshua. 3rd on Joshua. Landon Bussey arguing with John Higgins, did not think that it was a foul. He's more arguing with Errol Lewis, one of the other referees who I think made the call a moment ago. 59-44, Tulsa nearing midway through this half.
Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids.
Point lead for Tulsa. 10:38 to play here in the second half. During the timeout, Alcorn State head coach Landon Bussey was assessed a technical foul. Don't know exactly what the argument was about, but a good sense it had something to do with that foul call.
Yeah, Byron Joshua goes in here. It looks clean. Officials call the foul. And this, to me, this is a little bit calculated by Coach Bussey. Is even though he doesn't agree with that, he's stuck on that for a while with the officiating crew. But I think this is more about hanging tough, taking up for his guys. We were just talking about this stretch that they're in, that I don't care how much perspective you have, and the level of competition they're playing, which is off the charts, away from home. Sometimes you got to show your guys that, you know, I got you. And I don't think there's any question that's a little bit of what that was about. In the whole scheme of things, Coach Bussey knows that play really doesn't matter in the long term, right? And so I think that that's part of what he was trying to do right there. And I like it. I like it a lot.
Pritchard's pass a little too strong for Dowger. A Tulsa turnover. This is a Tulsa team that just does not turn the ball over very much. That is 9 tonight. But all of them good assist to turnover ratios. They take care of things. There goes Joshua to the bucket. Knocked out of bounds. Keyshawn Embry-Simpson returns. Pritchard is out.
Coach Haith is, with the way their schedule has been, he probably hasn't been able to work on the depth of this ball club like he would have liked. And I think tonight, I mean, he started it early, Chad. I mean, there were substitutions early. They played a lot of guys because he knows in the long run, there's a couple of players that haven't really produced that are more than capable that are on that bench that could really take Tulsa to another level. Keyshawn Embry-Simpson being one of those guys. This is the former Arkansas signee out of the Oklahoma City area that transferred to Tulsa last year. He's got tremendous upside and a lot to give. It just hasn't quite clicked yet.
Yeah, we've seen Ladavius Drain tonight, Nikita Konstantinovsky off that bench also. Probably see them at some point here in the second half. The guy who has produced has been this guy, Sam Griffin, once again. 18 as he hits the front end of the 1-and-1. Griffin.
And his production of how he's getting his points. Southern Illinois, 20 points on just 11 field goal attempts. So that usually tells you there's a combination of all levels, right? Free throw line, threes, stuff inside the arc. Tonight, Chad, that's 19 points for Griffin on 6 of 8 field goal shooting. And that's as productive as you can get.
The Tulsa lead out to 19. That's going to be a reach-in foul. They get Griffin for that. It's the third foul against Tulsa here in this half, and it's also the second on Sam Griffin. He will exit, and we will see Ladavius Drain back in there. Well, this is a talented guy if he can get it going. Ladavius Drain has had 3 games in his career at Southern Miss before he transferred to Tulsa, where he made 7 threes in a game. It can be explosive.
You mentioned 220 career three-point makes there, which is second all time, and he was a 39% career three-point shooter. So this is not a volume shooting three-point guy. This is a guy that makes them at a high clip, has that kind of potential and ability.
Haywood kind of getting down in the restricted area, and he's called for a foul on Agnew. Agnew, 84% foul shooter this year. So Tulsa, this will be their last home non-conference game. They will head down and play neutral site games, essentially, as they will play down in Fort Worth on Saturday against a Colorado State team that's picked to win the Mountain West Conference. They're up to number 14 in the RPI this week. And then a North Texas team that's picked in the top 5 in their league. They'll play them in Oklahoma City on Tuesday before coming home to face SMU on the 29th. So a couple of final tough tests for Frank Haith and the Golden Hurricane.
And I think that they're starting to turn it up a notch. Good positive things are happening defensively. They've gotten a little bit better.
Dowger traveled with that one. A little overextended. Looks like he's okay. Kind of awkwardly planted on his knee. And I know that everybody around the American Conference had their eyes on that Memphis win. Been wondering, it lost 4 straight games, and then they go drill Alabama by 14 last night. UCF and Temple getting American Conference play started. UCF a big win by 18 from Brandon Mahan in that one. But league play is right around the corner. And the American, as always, is a grinder. A lot of fouls back and forth both ways. That is the 5th against TU here in this half. And on Dowger, it's his 2nd. Agnew attacks and Horn sends it away. Underrated defender, do you feel like, Jeriah Horn, Brendan?
I would agree with that. I mean, he's a position defender. You know, because of his versatility offensively, it puts him into a lot of situations defensively where he's got to have some versatility, right? Because you have to match up with him defensively in terms of what he provides, matchup issues for you with his offense. So yes, this the case. Long rebound right here. So we had Alcorn State. One of the things like Tulsa that they do well is they just don't settle for the 3. Last 3 or 4 possessions, it's been trying to get to the cup off the bounce.
We'll see. Ray Idowu returns. He has 4 fouls. Tough for Idowu to get into the flow of things tonight with the foul trouble. And a free throw lane violation. It's against Linnell Henry, who shot the free throw. Under 9 minutes left. Tulsa by 17. Richard down to Idowu. Idowu jump hook with his right hand, short. And we've got an injured Alcorn State player down on the back end of this play. That is Otis Walker. See the replay.
Yeah, it looked like Horn caught him. Reaching in right there. Walker talking to John Higgins. I think he said, "Did you guys catch that?"
Walker had a first half where he made 3 out of 5 from 3-point range.
He's been really good for them as of late. And as I mentioned, with several guys out, I think that just makes what he's done that much more significant. You love it when guys step up in the absence of others. He's been excellent the last 4 ball games.
Agnew on the attack is fouled. A little reaching and grabbing going on right now both ways.
You know, the thing about Coach Bussey's team is they have balance within the roster. When you get Justin Thomas back, gives you stability at the point guard position. Obviously some talented guys like Bruton and Montgomery who are not here tonight. And then you've got some, I would say, more than serviceable bigs. Agnew being one of those. He's been really aggressive here the second half. He bangs down inside. Certainly gives you a physical presence on the interior.
Idowu down low, scores this one. Good feed there by Pritchard. 65-46 was Darian Jackson picking up a loose ball that started all that. Under 8 left, Pritchard stripped it briefly, and his bodies go to the floor. We'll have a held ball. Possession stays on this end at the under 8 timeout. Tulsa on top, trying to close it out. 19-point lead.
Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the come Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids.
New players, new coaches. It'll be must-see TV.
Welcome to a new time. Anyone's time.
The American Red Cross, so critical in assisting people affected by tornadoes in the southern and Midwest portions of our country. We invite you to donate now and help with the cause. redcross.org/ESPN. Wish all of the best to those impacted by those devastating storms. Thank everyone at the American Red Cross for helping out so greatly in this time of need. Under 8 left. Tulsa's been in control since about midway through the opening half. Alcorn State, see if they have one more run in them. Right down, they got to get a shot away. Shot clock down to 2. And they won't get it away.
That's a great half-court defensive stand from Tulsa coming out of the under 8 timeout. Saw the containment out front. Pritchard, the freshman, being solid right there.
They forced the 13th Alcorn State turnover of the night. Jeriah Horn unguarded for 2. Paul King's had a good night right now. Darian Jackson trying to stay in front of him. King's got 16. Here's King. Got a little space and hit another one. King knocks down his 3rd 3 of the night.
Yeah, it's a breakout offensive game for the JUCO transfer. 3 threes, Chad. He had 3 all season long coming in.
Jackson and Horn work a nice little transition game right there. Give the ball up and you'll get it back.
Yeah, one of the, I think, really positive things about playing Alcorn State tonight for Tulsa is on dead balls, made free throws, and some made baskets. You know, they picked up full court pressure. They'll do some things in the 3-quarter court, and even trap in the half court some. So it's forced Tulsa to have to read and recognize what defenses that they're in.
Oh my goodness. Paul King just rises and hits another one. And there's an offensive foul underneath called against Pritchard, trying to clear himself some space and come and get the basketball.
And there's some full court pressure right here. You split the double team, you get it to the middle, and then you advance the ball up the floor. That's classic 2-on-1 right there. Great job of Tulsa breaking that pressure. Virtually everybody touches it. Everybody makes a correct decision.
So with 6:24 to play here, Tulsa trying to figure out who's on the floor. Haywood, and it looks like Darian Jackson's going to exit. step back three. Rebounded by Walker. Walker went off with injury a short time ago, but he's able to hit that bank shot.
That was a great offensive play by Walker. Literally split two Tulsa defenders.
So Walker's got 13 to go with King's 21. Still Tulsa by 14 with under 6 minutes left. Crane dribbled it off somebody's foot there, and the Braves transition the other way. Agnew is fouled on his way to the bucket. And it'll be the 1-and-1 for Agnew.
But Agnew's pretty agile. Big 6'8" body right there. The little Euro step on Hayward. I tell you, regardless of what happens, Alcorn State's able to continue to dip into this lead or not. I think Landon Bussey can feel really good about the effort tonight. Again, shorthanded in the middle of as brutal of a non-conference slate as anybody potentially has ever had. And these guys continue to fight and battle. And we asked him, what do you want to see tonight? You know, what are keys to the game? And he said, that's first and foremost to me. No matter time and score, I want our guys to flat out get after it. I think that that has been accomplished.
I was reading their strength of schedule is number 8 nationally as Shariah Horn knocks down the three. Horn's first made 3 of the night.
8th nationally, that'll keep going up with their next.
That's what I was saying. If theirs is 8.
Baylor, Oklahoma, Minnesota to close out non-conference.
It will go up as Agnew makes one home. Under 5 minutes left. Dalger slashing, gets to the rim, count it, and a foul against Marshall. Spacing and ball movement creating just a little seam there.
Yeah, right? The last 3 or 4 games, spacing has improved for Tulsa. And what you like about this is up until 2-3 games ago, Chad, Dalger would have thought, okay, should I drive this or not? Now it's just react, takes what the defense gives. And we saw that against Southern Illinois when Tulsa had some ball movement and it ended up in his hands and he had a little bit of a mismatch on him. He's got a great first step. He's athletic, no hesitation, and just blows right by.
That's a 2 that's off the mark. And up high goes Walker for that rebound. The follow is good by Agnew.
Yeah, Walker gathering himself, not walking, and then hitting Agnew right there. I'm telling you, these guys keep coming.
Tulsa's largest lead has been 19 tonight. Pritchard behind the back to get himself some space to the bucket.
Smooth right there. The only chink, I think, in the armor tonight for Pritchard has 4 turnovers. But outside of that, he's just had a solid floor game.
And off the attack, Joshua's going to go to the foul line when we come back. 18-point Tulsa lead, 3:59 to play.
Little behind the back right there. Offhand from Pritchard. Good-looking young freshman for the Golden Hurricane.
Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids. Drive. It's what propels the champions, the comeback kids.
This time, everybody has a shot. Welcome to a new time.
At the under 4 timeout, it's Tulsa by 18 here at the Reynolds Center. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. Balanced Tulsa attack so far tonight. Sam Griffin leading the way once again. He's been efficient. 6 of 8 from the field, 19 points. He's hit all 3 of his threes and all 4 of his free throws so far.
Well, that's something that they knew Griffin would provide. He's got all 3 levels. Averaged 13 points a game at Texas Arlington. 39% from three-point range his 2 years there overall. Of course, Dry Horn, as you see right there. Griffin and Horn really anchored Tulsa offensively. A guy coming on right there in Tim Dowger. I think the light is coming on. The confidence is certainly there. They kind of feel like he's one of a couple of guys that could consistently be that third scorer, meaning, 10 to 14 a night.
This is the second time this season that Tulsa has had 4 players in double figures.
Yeah, great balance, obviously, right there, Chad. But there's been multiple games this year where they've only had 2. And in the loss at Oral Roberts, there was 1 player in double figures. That was Horn's 30. I think a huge key offensively. You got Horn and Griffin, and then you need a third at least every night helping out in terms of the scoring column.
In the last 2 games, it certainly looks like Dowger can be that guy, as Griffin misses his first 3 of the night. 16-point lead for the Golden Hurricane. As you mentioned, it's Haywood's first double-figure game of the night. He's 1 rebound of the season, I should say. He is 1 rebound away from a double-double as Horn blocks another shot.
Nice job of Horn, as a shot blocker, a big. You don't want to get bodied up. Had the space right there.
It's his 3rd block of the night, but a quick 3 and a timeout. It's going to be a timeout just for substitution, as Landon Bussey wants to get Mike Pajot into the game, and I think we're going to continue. And we will. It was just a substitution timeout, so onward we will go.
Opportunity to also set up a little full court pressure. And there's still enough game. If you had a couple of these type of possessions, you get something here offensively, Chad. It's going to get interesting.
13-point game. Paul King splits a double team out front. To the bucket he goes. And a foul on the rebound. And again, I think Horn was in good position underneath for Tulsa. And so Horn will go to the other end and shoot free throws. Tulsa, last 2 games, great job getting to the free throw line. Same type of situation against Southern Illinois back on Saturday when they essentially iced the game by making free throws. But to ice the game from free throw line, you got to get there first. And they've done a much better job of making their way to the charity stripe the last 2 games. And the first one is good. Tulsa 16 of 18 at the line.
Yeah, good basketball teams, regardless, Chad, of your personnel, defend well, take care of the ball, and then find ways to get here. And I think we're seeing improvement in all those areas from Tulsa. Defense continues to get better, more sound, more solid in all 5 spots, whether man or zone. Getting to the foul line, as you mentioned, the last couple of games, more. And one thing that they've done pretty consistently well since the start of the season is take care of it themselves.
Horn's got 15 points and 8 rebounds. And that'll be a traveling violation against Joshua. See the free throw disparity. When you can make more free throws than your opponent shoots, you're in good shape. And Tulsa has made 7 more than Alcorn State has shot tonight. That just thrown away there. Tulsa's going to win this game, but you can tell, looking at Frank Haith over there, he's not satisfied with about the last 3 minutes.
No, you want to close in the right way, in the right manner. And they've gotten lax on their attacking the pressure.
It's a double-double of 10 points and 10 rebounds for Haywood tonight. Horn off the dribble, just lost that ball out of bounds. Pritchard returns. Frank Haith's up. He wants to see some consistency in this final 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, and what he has, Chad, is you got as good a defensive lineup that you can probably put on the floor. Pritchard, Jackson, and Haywood, excellent perimeter defenders in there right now, with Horn, who's had a good night too on this end.
There's a step back 3 from Otis Walker. It's off the mark. That'll just tumble out of bounds. So Tulsa, ahead for them is a trip down to Fort Worth Saturday against Colorado State, and in North Texas Tuesday in Oklahoma City. Those 2 neutral site games, and those will not be easy.
And another opportunity right here, Chad, to face pressure on a side out full court from the Braves. A little cleaner right there from Tulsa.
Pritchard out for Jariah Horn. His 3 is in and out. Here goes King on the attack. Jariah Horn comes up with it. Marion Jackson lines up a 3. It's good.
You know, Jackson, not known to knock those down. He's 5 of 11 from 3 on the year.
Horn with his 4th blocked shot of the night. Walker with a 3 in and out. As we approach a minute to play in this one, Agnew trying to go up, and that's stripped.
And Frank Haith will not like how his team is close. You know, right there, Horn. I mean, you're a 5th-year guy. You can't. You got to be tough with the ball, right? You're going to win the game, but you got to close the right way.
Leaves a little sour taste in your mouth. As Agnew cannot finish inside, but he got it back. King short with that one into the arms of Pritchard. Tulsa going to try to whittle the rest of this clock away, but Pritchard will go to the foul line. This team that Landon Bussey has, it's been a grind on the road, and it's not over with yet. They will play in Waco against the defending national champion Baylor Bears. And then they will go play Oklahoma in Norman. Porter Moser's team's off to a great start, including a win here in Tulsa over Arkansas over the weekend. They have Minnesota on the road. And then we'll jump into the SWAC. So Ladavius Drain returning for Tulsa.
Tell you what, impressive night from King as he exits the floor right there. Breakout game for him offensively.
And Tulsa has equaled its largest lead of the night. With under 40 seconds left to play. Walker off the mark. Pritchard way up high, and that one is saved inbounds by Marshall.
I'll tell you, the Braves, I've mentioned it several times, Chad, they're still flying around. There's 26 ticks left, and they are still getting after it.
Agnew has had energy all night long. And Haywood secures his 11th rebound of this one. Alcorn State will not foul, and Tulsa is going to improve to 6-5 on the season. Oh, knocked away. Here's Pritchard with 11 seconds left. Now it looks like they may foul. At least we're wanting to. Haywood to the bucket. Haywood's most productive offensive night. You can feel the confidence growing in him.
Yeah, started to make open shots, and he takes it there. If they're going to trap out front late, you might as well take it to the cup. Good win from Tulsa.
So for the second time this season, the Golden Hurricane place 4 players in double figures. And Frank Haith's team improves back to 6-5 on the season. Sam Griffin leading the charge with 19 tonight, but a double-double for Kurt.